Welcome everyone to another Slab Stocks live stream here on YouTube, Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We are very happy you are here to join us. We got Nate in the house again, and we'll be having another guest join us later in the show around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We got lots to talk about today, of course, but the guest will be from Overtime, the really big social media basketball and sports account, and he operates the card account for Overtime at Overtime Polls. So very excited to have Sam joining us, talking about his collecting journey and some different topics from today's stream as well. So let's jump right into the discussion for today. Nate, what are you excited about for in 2 hours and 15 minutes? What's about to happen?
Packers
How are
playing
how
the
we feeling?
Lions. Well, let's see. Aaron Rodgers, stud on Monday nights, historically. And Aaron Rodgers, probably a little bit angry after last week. So I'm expecting 6 touchdowns from Aaron Rodgers tonight. That's my call. 6 tutties, 0 interceptions, 454 passing yards, and a 73% completion percentage.
I don't know if you saw, but we're favored by 11.5 points. Do you see it? Do you think that's a little high after last week?
I mean, I do think that's a little high, but again, an angry Aaron Rodgers is a good Aaron Rodgers. So, and I expect him to be angry after last week, unless he's just playing us and going to be terrible the entire year to force his way out of Green Bay.
Let's see what happens. I'm excited. But as you all see here on the graphic for today's episode, one of the main points of discussion is this Luka gold optic autograph number out of 10 PSA 1010 compared to the LeBron refractor BGS 10, and we will get into that discussion in a bit. But before that, we had the PWCC Premier Auction that ran down this past weekend on Saturday. Saturday night it ended. There was about 2 hours of extended bidding. I want to say it ended around 11 o'clock Central Time. And they cut the extended bidding in half. So instead of it being like 10 minutes, it started at 5 minutes, and then went down to 2 and then a minute, meaning any item in the auction had to get a bid within a minute for it to keep going. And then it finally ended. And we had some big debates that we had going before earlier in this month talking about. And my favorite one that I wanted to see what would happen is the LeBron gold debate. On the left side of the screen here, you got the 2005 Topps Finest LeBron James Gold Refractor PSA 10 compared to the LeBron James 2008 Topps Chrome Gold Refractor out of 50 BGS 9, except the finest on the left is jersey number 23 out of 39. In the chat right now, let us know what you think of these sold for prices. So the finest sold for $38,400, and the Topps Chrome BGS 9 out of 50 sold for $36,000. Now, if you remember the 2015 or the 2005 Topps Finest, I did in fact pull that card, and that was one of the coolest moments of my entire card collecting career. Very fun, and so happy that Fernando got that card. It did sell this past weekend. And then on the right side, you got the classic 08 Topps Chrome, one of the most legendary basketball sets ever, in my opinion, with the chalk toss. And clearly that had a lot to do with that sale, because that went for $36,000. That's numbered out of 50, and it's a BGS 9, and it's from 3 years later. I know it's Topps Chrome versus Topps Finest too, so you're kind of comparing, like a Bowman Chrome to like a Bowman's Best or Topps Finest, I suppose, But in my opinion, at least, and I know other people have different opinions, and I have some bias because I pulled it, so it's worth saying it. But I love just basketball Topps Finest in general. I think all the years of Topps Finest from the mid-2000s are great. It doesn't matter if it's 02, 03, 04, 05. I think they're all awesome. 05 particularly is my favorite set from Finest, which is why we opened it, because I love it so much. And I don't know if I'm surprised, but I did think that the jersey number would sell for more than the other one, which it did by $2,400. But I thought it'd be a bigger spread too. Nate, I don't know if you have a ton of thoughts on this. I know we talked a little bit before stream about it, but what do you think?
I guess I assumed that the jersey number at 05 would crack maybe 50.
Yeah.
In my mind, I just felt like 50 was a good number. The fact that it didn't crack 40 is a little bit disappointing to me. But considering, again, non-rookie, Topps Finest, I mean, 38,400 is a very healthy number.
It is.
This is a card that would not have gone for 38,400 2 years ago, So
no,
it's a healthy number.
And if anyone's wondering what the Instagram vote was, so we put all of these debates up on poll on Instagram and our audience votes on it. We had 44% vote for the finest 05 gold PSA 10, 56% vote for the Chalk Toss 08 Chrome.
Interesting.
And they like voting on that, they knew it was jersey number 23 out of 39 too. So I made sure to make it clear. So in fact, it did sell for more versus the public opinion. Now, are the people voting the ones bidding? Probably not, obviously, just as us talking about
Just
it.
like we're not bidding either.
Are the ones not bidding and we're the ones that are talking about this?
If I ever get to a point where I can bid for a card for $36,000, that would
you would have made it, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay, the next debate on the right side of the screen, we got the Mahomes NT Gold RPA numbered out of 10, BGS 9.5, and then the Brady Championship Contenders ticket BGS 8.5, 10, which is one of the top grades in that card. I think that there's like one BGS 9 maybe that set a record for a football card a few months back, but this is the 8.5 for BGS. And that Mahomes, I will tell you what, it sold for $1,080,000. The Brady sold for $1,590,000, but that Mahomes was sitting at $400,000 to $500,000 for most of the night, and within the last like 20 minutes, it went from 400 to like 500, 550, 600, 700, 750. Like literally, just was a straight bidding war between probably two people. I'm assuming as the last bid really sparked it. And it with buyer's premium, it ended up going over $1,080,000. I personally thought going into this, now the auction's done, I can say I thought it was going to be 650 to 700. So that's a huge sale for that card. But I did think that was one of the nicest football cards I've ever seen in my entire life.
How many of those do you think are still sitting in National Treasures boxes?
I always wonder that, don't you? I always wonder,
like once a card hits $1 million and you have sealed National Treasures, like what does the price on that go to? Because all of a sudden you can be like, hey, you might have $1 million card in this box.
And it's not like it's a one of one. It's not like it's the logo show. Like there's I just saw it.
Out of 10.
I don't know if this just happened or not, but someone just shared a video of someone pulling a Jason Tatum Gold Prism rookie out of a pack recently. I don't know if it was right now. I don't know if it's like 6 months ago, whatever, but that's still 4 years after the fact.
Yeah.
Same exact year for the Mahomes, same numbering. I would even argue it's easier to pull that card because there's less NT boxes made than Prism. So you're right. I mean, that's crazy to think about. How much? Oh man, sealed case of 2017 NT National.
I can't even imagine.
That'd be nuts.
Imagine being an owner of like NT box at any point for 2018 basketball, Luka's year, Slabstox Sam.
Yeah, I had the FOTL. I had the 2017. I bought for $500. That's crazy. De'Aaron Fox numbered out of I think 5 or 10 came out of that box. So yeah,
and Vince Carter, right?
Vince Carter, one of one. Yeah. I did not open it. I sold it right away. But as for the Instagram poll on this, we had Mahomes had 34% of the votes and Brady had 66%, which is not super surprising considering at the time that the poll was put up. The current bid was $400K for the Mahomes versus $950K for the Brady.
And but it actually ended basically the same distance apart.
Exactly. And I think the Mahomes proved very well, though. I mean, that's quite a substantial increase for both those. And what's up, Magic, Bazooka, Tom, Will? Good to see you all here. Will says NFL is so hard to predict early in season. Look at first 2 week results. Defense is still figuring things out. I would venture to say everyone is still figuring things out. And we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that a little bit later for sure.
All right. So next debate is the Mahomes Kaboom Gold versus the Mahomes Auto RPA rookie auto jersey out of 99 PSA 10 on a thick card. That's a tough grade. So was the BGS 10 though, pristine on a gold Kaboom. Oh wait, did I switch that? Oh yeah, we're good. And at the time of posting this on Instagram, the current bid for the gold was 21,000. The auto was 11,000, but this vote was much closer than the other vote. So it's 56% for the gold Kaboom, 44% for the auto, which makes me think that there is a segment of the space that is very wealthy that is buying the Kabooms because like $49,200 versus $18,000 is way more spread apart than this vote shows.
Mm-hmm. But I think you're right. There's going to be the wealthy people are not looking for the secondary RPAs.
No,
National Treasures. They're not looking for the Colossals. They're not looking for the NFL gear RPAs, anything like that, unless it's like something super nice. Joe Burrow just had an NFL gear, NFL logo off the football. 101 sell the other day, and when I saw it last, it was $11,000. I don't know what it ended at. So, like, if it's something like that, sure. But for the most part, they're not going to go for that. But Kabooms, come on.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Kaboom.
Yeah, and this one is worth noting. Nate pointed out in the video we did that the 2020 this is from 2020 Absolute, which is actually his first pack pulled Kaboom. He had the Panini Rewards Kaboom from 2018, which did have golds out of 10, and I would imagine that one would sell as a BGS 10 80, 90K. As much as it being pack pulled is very cool, and I normally value that way higher always. It's a little different when it's a full set that's released, I guess, in my opinion. It's just different for me.
It's like the white sparkles.
Yeah, it's like the
Nice,
white sparkles. But people like the Kabooms more than the white sparkles. Yeah. And I still think that, I mean, it's a great sale for whoever sold that. Jordan Hudson, they ain't looking for Brewers cards. I tell you that, Sally. They aren't looking for Cardinals cards either. Especially Molina, right? All right, next debate. We had the this is the Messi and Ronaldo BGS 9 Mega Cracks and Mega Crack is for Ronaldo rookie cards from 2003 and 2004. And the interesting thing, well, I guess 2002 and 2004 technically, but the Ronaldo I thought had some PSA label might say 03 on that. Either way, time of posting was 8,000 current bid for Ronaldo, 12,000 current bid for Messi. Messi got 65% of the votes. Ronaldo got 35% of the votes. And then the Messi ended at 24K and the Ronaldo at 14.4. And that's worth noting that Ronaldo, since going to Man U, has got 4 goals in 3 games, and Messi's got 0 goals in 3 games for PSG. Not to say it determines how much this card's worth or how much their markets are valued at all. It doesn't, obviously. But just goes to show PSG is still figuring it out, still trying to see how to play as the juggernaut that they are. Kind of reminds me when like LeBron first went back to Cleveland. They were like 500 through the first like 40 games or something, I think. And then they ended up making the championship that year, something like that. Well, obviously they made it. He made it every year he was with Cleveland when he went back the second time. And I don't really have much to add on that debate other than it seems to sit in line with how people buy their cards, Messi versus Ronaldo. But it does seem actually like a pretty big spread.
I would have thought that they would have gone for more, but I don't know anything about the soccer market.
So all I know is that 9.5s of that Messi at the peak we're doing like 95 to 100.
Oh, okay.
So I would imagine 9.5 would sell obviously less than that right now. And then 9 kind of makes sense. It would sell for that much. But I think 10, the last 10 of Ronaldo might have done like 175 PSA 10. And then we are on to some of the other debates. We got the Kobe insert debate. This one pulled way closer than what the poll said. So at the time of polling, the credentials was at 36,000 with the pink and red background. The titanium molten metal was at, I think it's titanium. Nope, that's fusion. Sorry. Molten metal fusion was at $60,000. And that's numbered out of 40. The credentials is out of 73. And that was at a 60K current bid at the time of posting halfway through the auction. And that one ended up getting 71% of the votes, the molten metal. And then the credentials got 29%, but they ended at 60,000 for the credentials and 78,000 for the molten metal, which is very close. That molten metal did not get many bids on the last day or the second half of the auction. Actually, the credentials went up quite substantially. Either way, molten metal still won, so people still predicted it correct. But it's $18,000 difference versus at the time of posting, it's $24,000 difference. And then Nate's going to have a lot to say on this one. But Harper, Orange BGS 9.5 sold for $40,800, and Judge Orange PSA 10 sold for $20,800. And the vote for that one was 51% Harper, 49% Judge. So just a neck and neck vote. And they were very close at the time of posting. Actually, Judge was 16,000 and Harper was 11,000. And the script just completely flipped, and Harper went for 40 versus 20. 40,800 versus 20,800.
Yeah. A couple things about this. I'm very curious as to what this would have gone for in the offseason before the start of the season. How much has Harper moved because of his dominant year? Harper currently leads the entire MLB in OPS at 1,052, which is his second best season all time.
Which happened recently too. He wasn't leading the whole season.
No, but he's been dominant in August and September. He's up to 38 doubles, 33 home runs, a triple, 428 on base percentage, which is really good, 624 slugging, 1,052 OPS, obviously. So I'm very curious as to what this would have gone for before the season.
I'm thinking like 10
because
to 15K.
I imagine that Harper has probably added like $30,000 onto the price list card solely off the really good year he's had here. I think it would have been more in line with what we're seeing with the Aaron Judge, probably just a little bit less, maybe 15K for this Harper, but I don't know. That being said, I do find it interesting. Obviously, PSA 10 to BGS 9.5, and Harper is having a significantly better season than Aaron Judge, at least at the plate. But Aaron Judge is obviously no slouch himself, and he is basically the same amount of wins above replacement. Now, I know a lot of people don't love wins above replacement, but he's basically the same amount of wins above replacement than Harper on the season, despite the fact that Harper is an MVP candidate and Aaron Judge won't even come close to sniffing the MVP candidate in the AL. So it's really a what have you done for me lately type of thing. And Aaron Judge is almost done as much as Harper, but we're in an offensive-driven league. And there's the price difference.
I agree. People want to see the dude that's hitting home runs and getting tons of extra base hits. And the last debate, which we don't spend much time on because it is Pokemon, but the Charizard Crystal Hollow from Skyridge PSA 10 sold for $13,200, and then the Gold Star, what is that from? That's from EX Dragon Frontiers PSA 10 sold for $16,800. I think the debate on that, I lost my archive on my phone here. I was looking at the voting polls. I think that the Gold Star had more votes. How many more votes is a question that I will answer in about 2 seconds. 1, 2. Still haven't answered yet. It had. Sorry, just kidding. Skyridge had 61% of the votes. Gold Star had 39% of the votes, and they were both tied at $8,000 at the time of posting. And it ended up going $16,800 versus $13,200, with the Gold Star getting more votes.
So Will says that he bid $10K on that Harper, $40K, way too much. And again, $10K is probably what it close to what it would have gone for before the season, I'd imagine. Just being Bryce Harper, even though he's been a little bit disappointing the last couple of years, not like disappointing he was bad, just he hasn't been as a 22-year-old. He had 1,000-something OPS. Since that point, he had another 1,000 OPS one of those years, but since that point, it's been a little bit disappointing because he hasn't matched those levels. So I agree, 10K would have been that. I don't think I would have ever bid 40K, but I also wouldn't have bid 20K on the Aaron Judge because he can't stay healthy. And while he's good when he's in, he's not in enough, and he doesn't seem like he has the body that's going to age very well into his 30s because of how tall and how injury prone he is in his 20s. And so I think both of them are probably overpays. But if there was one I'd rather spend than the other, I'd rather spend 40K on Bryce Harper than 20K on Aaron Judge.
You rather spend 40K on Harper than 20K on Judge?
Correct.
If the money was there.
if I had that money and needed to blow it somewhere.
Needed to blow it.
If I needed to
make a quick investment.
Yeah.
Okay, but that brings us to this last point here. And this was not part of our debate series. This was really just strictly a straight up discussion content play right here, because I saw on the very last day of bidding for the auction on Saturday, I was like, holy cow, that Luka Optic Contenders Gold Auto PSA 1010 numbered out of 10 is going crazy. It was at $90,000 on the final day on Saturday morning. And the LeBron James Refractor BGS 10 was at $95,000 at the exact same time. Bazooka Tom says money laundering tips from Nate. So at the exact same time on Saturday, one was at $95K, the other was at $90K. I look at this immediately and I say, holy cow, Luka 2018 produced card, the same amount as LeBron BGS 10 Refractor, which is an incredibly tough grade to get with the 10 centering, because I've seen a lot of these. I owned a 9.5 of that card, and the centering is off on so many of them. Like, to get a BGS 10 in that card is extremely difficult, especially with the 10 centering. So then I started thinking, well, as for the Luka Doncic card, the on-card auto here is huge. If anyone knows all the rumors with the Lulu and his mom, quote, signing the cards, which there is no proof of that anyone's ever shown, but it's just conspiracy that people throw around based on his autograph looking different with Upper Deck when they have pictures of him signing.
Throwing it around again, spreading the conspiracy theory.
I'm stirring the pot, as they like to say. And either way, my point is that people actually really, really, really love the Optic Contenders Luka Doncic autographs because they were redemptions that got signed at a later date, and his autograph looks as if it matches the Upper Deck autographs. That's my point here, is that Optic Contenders, I would say, is generally a tier 2 or tier 3 set. I'd say tier 3. Your tier 1 is your high-end NT
Yeah,
and
your NT flawless,
NT and flawless, and then also I'd say like your high-end Prism cards and high-end potentially
like
selector optic cards.
Stuff, yeah.
Tier 2 is your contenders. I'd say Immaculate's tier 2. I'd put like probably select an optic in tier 2. And then tier 3 is where you get into the optic contenders.
Wow, you're gonna do Immaculate like that, huh?
I love Immaculate, but people disagree with me. I've heard it on Instagram already a billion times. My point here is that is a set that's not normally bought very, frequently or with price tags that big. But for Luka specifically, I think it's probably elevated to like a tier 1 or 2 set. And I posted this on Instagram, and plenty of people were like, what the heck? How are you spending that much on a prospect who, he hasn't, I know he's more than just like a prospect. Like he's obviously one of the top players in the NBA, but he hasn't won anything versus LeBron, who's, top 2 player of all time, still playing to this day, plays for the Lakers and everything. 2003 refractory rookie BGS 10. Now, fast forward to the end of the auction on Saturday night, and that LeBron does not make up much ground at all. It goes 150K, which is pretty substantial, I'd say.
It doesn't make up any ground. It loses ground.
Oh, yeah, true. On the actual Luka, yes. It loses a lot of ground on the Luka. It goes from 95 to 150, while the Luka goes from 90 to 264K. And that is one of the top selling cards from the entire auction in itself, but it's also probably one of the top selling non-one of one Luka Doncic cards that's ever went outside of the Prism Gold PSA 10, True Gold PSA 10, which sold for 800 some K.
And the 1-1 hasn't been pulled?
101 Prism Black. It has not been pulled to everyone's knowledge. Imagine it ended up
sitting in a binder somewhere.
Yeah, end up in a kid's hand that gets shoved in a binder and sitting in a closet. I really do wonder how many good cards are like that.
A lot.
Probably so many.
A lot.
But specifically like, $100,000 card, like that'd be insane. Well, that Luka's worth way more than $100,000. So yeah. Magic right here is telling us that LeBron is not very popular right now. And I will say that after last season when he got hurt and showed up in the playoffs, didn't really show up in the playoffs, I'd say his popularity probably has declined, especially in the card market.
Let me tell you, I said something about LeBron a couple months ago, and if you would have just judged by the comment section in here from like the 100 people that were in here, LeBron wasn't popular then.
No. Nate was getting roasted.
Yeah, it was.
He's getting roasted. And Rob says that the Luka sold way too high. So our question to the chat right now is, what do you make of these sales? The Luka Auto PSA 10, which is a population 1. I think it might be a pop 1 for the 1010 autograph. I don't know if it is a PSA 10, if there's more than that, just for the non-autograph grade. And then the LeBron Refractor BGS 10 rookie, that one for 150K. I don't know the population on that. BGS's pop report, that needs to get better because it's so hard to search that thing. But still a pristine grade, the top grade really in the market today. And crazy, Nate, $114,000 difference. I never expected that. What's your thoughts on this? And also just in general, the overall discussion of, do you go for the guy that's coming up, maybe a better objective card where the gold auto is a better card than just a refractor rookie, but he's a prospect and hasn't won or proven himself completely?
Well, I think my answer would be better formed if I knew the pop report on the BGS 10.
Let me get it. How about
LeBron?
that?
Because the pop report on the BGS 10 would affect my answer big time.
Well, how about just talk to me in general about what my second question then?
Your second question was?
So, like, let's say you have a Bowman Chrome autograph orange of a guy that's like Julio Rodriguez, or you have a base auto 9.5 of Mike Trout.
Okay, that's okay. I get it.
Because how much is that Julio? Probably 10K, 15K?
Yeah.
I know that Mike Trout's more than that, but something like that.
So, yeah. I guess this would probably be better along the lines of Fernando Tatis.
Yes.
Who really good, but hasn't done anything. Well, Mike Trout hasn't done anything either, technically. It's hard in baseball because Mike Trout's the most expensive, but hasn't done anything outside of win MVPs and stuff, but hasn't won a championship. Like LeBron has won 4. A lot.
4.
So we'll still go with Mike Trout. You know, if you're comparing a Fernando Tatis gold out of 10 to a base auto Bowman Chrome Mike Trout, the gold would probably go for more than the Trout, right?
Yes.
But if it was a BGS 10 Trout, you know, that would affect my answer. So, to me, I love Luka. I think he's really good. He's obviously amazing. He's going to win an MVP or 2 or 3 or 4 in his career. He might win a championship, but I don't think he's going to win 4 championships like LeBron, right? He's just not good enough on both sides of the court like LeBron was to have that effect on championships. I don't think. I could be wrong.
Whoa. That orange 95 Julio is for sure worth more than $15K. Nate, you see a raw Julio gold one for $8,000 a couple weeks ago on eBay? I have the pop report, by the way, on the LeBron.
Oh, yeah. Get it to me because that will affect my
So there's a total of 1,137 graded by BGS, which who knows how many are left graded by BGS after people probably started crossing the PSA recently, like 9s and 8s and stuff, you know. BGS 10, 32 of 1,137.
All right. So a pop of 32 compared to a pop of 1 and only 10 potential.
That's a 3% rate of the 10. BGS 10.
It's a low pop, but it's also, you know, guaranteed like 32 times more pop, you know, there's 32 times more of this card than there is of this Luka PSA 1010.
There's also a ton graded by PSA, and so there's thousands graded in general.
Yeah. So I guess because of that, despite the fact that I'm a big LeBron has done stuff, Luka hasn't, just scarcity and how people work, I would go with the Luka because the Luka has, to me, a better chance of going up in price quicker than the LeBron.
At least, yeah, I would say higher ceiling, but definitely lower floor. That's how I would think of it. And I guess it just depends on how much you want to gamble, but that's a lot of money to gamble, of course. All right, we have a few more minutes here to run through the rest of the slides here before our guy Sam from Overtime joins us. But
we only have one slide?
Yeah, I think so. Well, there's like one more in there. I guess I'm talking about. I don't know about the black label. Oh, are there any black label or LeBron refractors? 3 black label. So I guess technically 35, unless 35. One got bumped, maybe.
So yeah. And who's to say how many of those BGS 10s are? Yeah,
I would say most are still
most.
Yeah,
I guess.
All right. We got a couple minutes.
And this is me. So one interesting tidbit that I added in here, just because I don't know if people were paying attention. I'm waiting for it to pop up on my own screen so I can increase here. I don't know if you guys were watching NFL football this Sunday, but this has to have been a historically bad day for first and second week or year quarterbacks. Look at these stats. Joe Burrow, you can see the stats, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, including 3 straight picks on 3 straight passes.
I know, how crazy is that?
And a 15.8 QBR. Justin Fields, 6 for 13, 60 yards, and a pick, a 4.4 QBR. Obviously, the Justin Fields thing, you know, you prep for Andy Dalton and then you throw Justin Fields in. They're not the same QB.
No.
They're just not. They don't play the same way. Probably not Justin Fields' fault. Probably Matt Nagy because he stinks at coaching. Trevor Lawrence has looked pretty bad the last couple weeks, but the Jaguars are a bad team. He went 14 for 33, 118 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks, and a 30.5 QBR. Jaguars are a bad team, and he's been doing things that it's like, okay, there's that flash, there's that glimpse. Trevor Lawrence is going to be fine in the future. But right now, the first 2 games have been rough. Mac Jones, 22 for 30, 186 yards, 28.6 QBR. Probably didn't do anything to make his team lose, but didn't do anything to help his team win either. Zach Wilson was atrocious, 19 for 33, 4 interceptions. To make it worse, Sam Darnold was really good these last 2 weeks, or at least good with Carolina these last 2 weeks. So that makes Zach Wilson look way worse.
Well,
and then
the Jets are terrible, though. I mean,
the last 3 guys, Tua, 1 for 4, 13 yards, got injured, took a shot to the ribs. So that doesn't really count, but, you know, he got knocked out. Jacob Eason came in 2 for 5 with an interception. Obviously bad. Jalen Hurts, 12 for 23, and the new 190 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And the new savior of the hobby, Jalen Hurts, did not have a good game. Justin Herbert, 31 for 41, 338 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. Justin Herbert's game was not good, but they at least had a shot to win it. But what I'm trying to say is all these guys were really bad. And yes, Joseph put Peyton Manning's first-year stats up. Peyton Manning was also really bad. I just found it interesting that I'm not saying, oh, man, these guys are all going to be bad in their career. That's not what I'm saying. I found it fascinating that almost every single young first and second year QB or every first and second year QB that played this past week was bad. And every single one of them had Hurts had a 62.3 QBR. But everyone else had under 35.
On Joseph's comment there about Peyton Manning's first year stats. So very true. I was thinking about that. Also, just because they play bad now doesn't mean that they're going to be bad.
No.
But on the flip side, there's plenty of people who played bad to start and also were just bad and never were good.
Yeah, but also Sam Darnold was atrocious and now he is good. And so
situation matters.
Situation matters. Trevor Lawrence's situation matters. Zach Wilson's situation matters. Justin Fields' situation matters, right? Joe Burrow, that's a little bit of an unfortunate 3 interceptions, but still pretty good, right? And so it's just one of those things that there's not really much to draw from this outside of the fact that it just blows my mind that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 young quarterbacks got chances. 2 got injured. Jacob Eason obviously only got 5 pass attempts, but threw a pick in those 5 pass attempts. And they were all pretty bad.
True. Really quick, just want to show exactly what happened in Jalen Hurts' market after his not great game. So his green PSA 10 Prism on SlabStoxPro, pro.slabstox.com. You can make a free account today. It was over 560 and it dropped on the most recent auction, which ended today. Now that ended today, like pre-4 o'clock. So maybe just terrible auction timing.
Yep.
Ended for 440. So there might be a little bit of both. Bad auction timing. Not a great game. Really great games this first week, which made it pop up, obviously. But we're looking at a pretty substantial drop there in a couple day period.
And a good reminder that if you watch a young core, and I was impressed with how they beat the Falcons. But if you watch these young guys play bad teams and they look really good, they run up against a good team,
good defense,
like Hurts against the 49ers, and they might look bad the next week. And in the NFL, you can sell week to week. You could have sold Jalen Hurts and then bought into Jalen Hurts after he ran up to a good team and then buy back into Jalen Hurts before he plays another bad team, right?
Takes lots of execution.
It does. It does.
Okay. We are going to come to the stopping point for the presentation for now because we are going to welcome right now our guest, Sam from Overtime. Sam, there you are. Welcome, man.
What's up, guys? What's up, Aaron? What's up, Nate? Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, dude. Sam. Good to see you. Last time I saw you were in Miami for the Courtside Card Show. You hooked me up with that shirt you got on.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, tell us who you are and what you do for Overtime and stuff and how you got involved. And just another add-on question is like, how did Overtime get into cards? Because I know that your Overtime polls account, which is pretty dope, what hasn't been into cards like forever, obviously. So just talk me through that.
Yeah, for sure. So, my name's Sam. I've actually been working at Overtime since like June 2017. So I've been working at Overtime forever. I'm my title's like editor-in-chief of the company. So I like run our YouTube page. I do a lot of our Snapchat content. I work on like signing talent to us. And basically like anything that we can do to grow and just make dope content and things like that. So I'm kind of all over the place. But I've actually been a collector like my whole life. Like starting when I was like 4 or 5, I was going with my dad to card shows. And I actually grew up collecting vintage baseball cards, which I think is kind of weird for people in their 20s to say that they grew up collecting vintage baseball cards. But like, I know everything about like, the Tito 06 stuff, like Gowdy, like all the like old Judge cards. Like that's actually what I kind of grew up collecting and learning about, even though like I'm a basketball player, but I grew up just doing vintage baseball stuff with my dad. I've been collecting my whole life. I took a kind of a break in college. Like, I was playing basketball in college and obviously there's a lot of things going on, but then afterward I kind of started getting back into it like 2 years ago. And I've been, just collecting and kind of immersing myself in the content ever since. And I just want to shout out you guys because like when I was just getting back into it, like 1.5, 2 years ago, your guys' channel was one of the first ones I was watching and just like interacting with and just kind of, getting caught up with like what the modern card market was looking like. And you guys were always like so nice about it. Like I remember you followed my pulls accounts, like even when they were like really small, and like always nice and like reposting things. So I'm just happy. You know, I was like watching your guys' YouTube a lot, trying to comment from overtime, and now I'm on it. So it's dope.
Yeah, hey, thanks. I appreciate that, because I remember the first time you hopped in the chat as overtime, people were like, "No way, overtime in the chat." I'm like, "Yeah."
And then there was me.
And then there's Nate. Nate's like, "Hey, what's overtime, Aaron?" I'm like, "Dude, come on."
But yeah, so in terms of cards, probably like in January, I want to say our CEO texted me and our head of and our like chief content officer who overruns everything. And he had been watching what was going on in the cards market, and he was like, "Make a page today." He's like you're the only one of the company that knows it. Like, make a page today, just like figure out how to grow it. And this was like in January, in the middle of quarantine. I was back home with my parents, and I was like, all right. So I just started making some TikToks, and like I saw a lot of traction there. And now the TikTok page is at like, you know, I think 42,000 followers. The Instagram's at like 11 or 12,000 followers. But really, like I just enjoyed doing it. And I think like there's going to be a cool cards opportunity with us, with our Overtime Elite League. So that's kind of where we stand now. And you know, I think for us, like whenever we see a place where there's a lot of interest, and we think we could do something a little bit different, then we're gonna dip our toes in it and just like do some tests and see what happens. And for me, I just love it. Like I've been collecting. I love to collect. I want to do all day, like at the office. So I just love doing it.
So hey, so first, before getting into more of the business side, I want to talk about you and your collecting stuff, because when I met you in Miami, you know, I was like expecting you to open up your bag and you're about to show me your Luka Silver PSA 10 and some other stuff. You straight up to start pulling out Babe Ruth stuff like T206, and you showed me some pictures on your phone and stuff, and I was just like, oh my gosh, never would I have guessed that you would have been collecting that type of stuff, which is cool, because I want to point out that like even for someone like you who you returned to the market 2 years ago, you went back to what you were collecting. You didn't hop on what everyone else was trying to buy, what everyone else was trying to collect. And I always think that that's a really cool way to do it, is to like, you know, find what you liked when you were younger. For Nate, you're really into Bowman Chrome in the past and now. And now he's really into Aaron Ashby with his Superfractor and trying to find the rainbow and stuff. And it's just exciting for me to watch journeys like that when I've known Nate my whole life. He's loved Brewers his whole life. He's loved pitchers his whole life. And I know that very well. Yeah. And he's loved Bowman Chrome his whole life, or at least for most of his collecting journey. And it's fun. And just like you too. So did you bring stuff? Do you have stuff next to you?
So I have some of my weirder stuff. I was actually literally on my way home because most of my bigger stuff is at my parents' place. Like I live in Brooklyn. I'm from the Upper West Side. I was on my way home and I realized I forgot my key and they're away. So I don't have some of my bigger stuff. So next time I'll bring that. But I do have some like weird like one-off things that I bought. But just on Bowman Chrome, Nate, I like one of my dream cards is 2001 Pools Bowman Chrome Auto. Like I still think that's like a massively undervalued card relative to everyone else. Like that's like I don't know, when I was like collecting and when I started collecting, like that was like the card. Like that was like the holy grail of cards. And like there's only 500 of them. Like that feels to me like it should be worth way more than it is. I don't know how you guys feel about that. But
Albert Pujols is one of those guys that I think because of how kind of meh the end of his career is.
Yeah.
People are very like, what have you done for me lately? It's going to take like 5 years after he retires, once the Hall of Fame stuff comes around, where people are going to be like, oh, wait. Albert Pujols was like the greatest hitter in the history of baseball for a stretch of like 10 years in St. Louis.
Yeah, he really was.
And once people remember that, then those cards are going to explode.
Not to mention just the straight, like you mentioned, 500 copies made. If you think about Trout, where there's all these different variations, you got the base, which there's way more than 500 made of. That is quite the card. And as Sam starts to pull out these cards and show, I want people in the chat, if you have any questions for Sam about his collecting or overtime or what he does or anything like that, just feel free to toss them in the chat, and I'm sure Sam will be happy to answer questions you all have. But really quick, before Magic pointed out that someone put in a 16-team parlay at MGM for $25, and tonight would be the 16th correct game, which is all the games of this week. and it could net $726,959.
I almost want the Lions to win just for the sake of that
And
person.
and he needs Detroit to win. And obviously, we're huge Packer fans. But wow, that's insane. That's insane. All right, Sam, what do we got?
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So like I said, like I was planning on bringing out like one of my Babe Ruth autographs and like some of my Honus Wagner cards. I don't have those with me right now, but I do have some like other stuff that I've recently picked up that I don't know, I'll show. So Aaron, I actually don't think I showed it to you, but at the very end of the Miami show, I was just walking around and I saw this this like Lewis Hamilton 2009 Sports Illustrated card.
That's cool.
That's awesome. That's like kind of one of his first cards, I think.
Yeah, it is. So I think it's his second card. The first one is that like 2007 like Pro.
It's like the horizontal one with like his face on it.
I think it's a vertical one, but it's like the 2007 Pro thing. And then this is his second card. The Pro one's going. The last time I checked was going for like 2,000 or 3,000. I think like raw, maybe 1,500 raw. And I saw this thing, and I just thought it was like, you know, I just thought it was really interesting. Like what card? It's the only sport where you see them like in their car. Like you can't even like see their face.
Right. I know it's awesome, man. That's super cool. And I think like another card, the 2003 SI LeBron is a really cool card too.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just thought that was cool. So I picked that up, and I actually had to, I was trying to make a quick trade. So I ended up like selling some Pokemon cards that I found from my old collection and got that.
That's awesome.
This is something I got in today. And like, I don't know, something that I think is important to me is people think that now you just look at the market and like everything is like super expensive. But I like to buy like some cheaper cards too. And I literally saw this guy on Instagram post this like Derek Jeter 2008 Top Scrum X Factor card.
Yes, I love that set.
Yeah, it's just like a dope card. Like I love the set. It's obviously a legendary basketball set. I DM'd him about it, and it was like I got it for like $20, and I just thought like it's a sick card. Like you don't need to spend that much money to get a cool card every once in a while.
No.
Like, yeah, so that just came in the mail today. What else? I like raw cards just as much as graded cards. Like this I picked up a while ago. It's a 2012 Prism Durant auto.
On-card auto.
Your Prism. Yeah, like on-card auto. I just think that I love this card. Like I want to get it. I'm not going to grade it with PSA obviously right now. But like I just think it's a dope card. Like on-card auto for me, like super important. Because I just think that the player like had a moment with the card, and obviously 2012 Prism. You know, you could say what you want about production now, but like back then, not as many cards were made, and it's still like a legendary set. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, and I think that it got so overblown for a bit of time that people started then like hate on it in turn. And I think that happened with a lot of the cards in the market, but there's nothing that takes away from how important that set was to modern basketball cards.
Exactly. Like, yeah. So I mean, I'd really love to get the Kobe in that set too, but
yeah, that's a nasty card.
Okay, so here's one vintage thing that I got like 2 weeks ago. Do you guys know Bleecker Trading?
Yes.
So I went to Bleecker Trading's trade night, and like I was looking around, like it was a lot of like kind of high pop stuff. And then Jake, who like kind of runs a lot of the operations day to day, he pulled this out, and it's a Walter Johnson strip card from 1921.
Dang.
And it's like it looks pretty sharp to me. Like it looks pretty good condition to me for a 20. And like I the pop report on this, I think there's less than 100 of them graded.
It's literally a 100-year-old card you're holding right now.
Yeah. And it's like Walter Johnson. Like if you look at his stats, if any pitcher like today put up Walter Johnson stats, he would be the hottest baseball player. His card would be like the hottest card of all time. Obviously, it was different back then, but I'm saying like this guy put up insane numbers. So I made like a deal with Jake. I got this a couple of weeks ago, and I just thought like for like a fraction of the price of what a lot of the modern cards are going for. Like I just thought getting one of the best pitchers of all time was like a no-brainer. So that was like a cool random thing. And then the last thing, I actually went to the this is my first football card. I went to the Boston show a couple of weeks ago. There was a show in Boston.
Causeway Card Show from Coast to Cards.
I think it was in Wilmington. I don't know if it was the Causeway one, but
gotcha.
Yeah. And I saw this card, and like this is my first football card, but it's a Barry Sanders police rookie card.
Oh yeah, I know a guy that's super into the police cards.
Yeah, so I don't know. I was just I saw this. I was interested in it, so I was looking it up, and I guess he has his most famous rookie card is the Score. Yeah. I think 1989, and I was just comparing the pop reports of the Score one to this one, and this one's like way less, and the card is cheaper. So when I see things like that, I'm just like, oh, okay, like I'll give it a shot. I think it was $60 for like
Do you know how that card is distributed?
I've literally no idea. I just thought it looked cool, and I looked
Because
it up.
I always wonder, cards that are distributed not via like packs or sets. I'm always curious on how many just got like thrown out. Like,
Oh, so many.
Yeah,
like where like someone just like got it like
How
a
many-
pick and save and then just like
How
threw it out.
many police cards did you get from the Brewers when the police car would drive through our neighborhood and hand out
I
cards?
I was too young. I don't remember.
Oh, we got so many.
Okay.
Every time the cop drove past, we each get a pack.
Literally on our
We
block?
have none of those left. On our block, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm assuming. So that's why it's like interesting because it's like that type of card. You said pop reports low. There's probably a lot of them, but it's like not that many are going to be found or graded because they're all just gone or stuck in cabinets or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly. I actually have a question for you guys because I got into like kind of a. This is the only time where I've gotten into some like fights on social media. I posted a video like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 months ago, basically saying like the 86 Fleer Jordan is not his true rookie card, which I believe. I honestly do believe it because it's literally his 3rd year in the league. And like for me, like you're telling me a rookie card is his 3rd year in the league. Like I don't really subscribe to that. And I was saying like, if you want one of his true rookie cards, you should try to go for the star or the interlay card. And I got so many comments being like, not pack pulled, not pack pulled. Like you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. And like, I was trying to defend myself, but I'm curious what you guys think. Review on that pack pulled versus like earlier card.
Well, we just were talking about pack pulled stuff like with the kabooms. So it still rings true today. Like that's still a debate with modern cards too. And I believe that the 84 star, I think is like, they consider it an XRC, right?
Yeah.
Like extended rookie. I don't want to say the 86 Fleer card isn't a rookie, but if you're talking about like the first card, it's 84 star. Like that's what I'd say too. And you see BGS 8s, which is like one of the some of the top grades in that card. It's so hard to grade that card, and PSA doesn't even grade them anymore.
Yeah.
It goes for like what did the last BG8 sell for? Like 30-some thousand, I think, maybe through PWCC or something. And that just doesn't seem enough for a card that's like super rare, hard to grade. And like what Will said, problem with Star is the reprinting issue, which is true. That's why PSA doesn't grade them. But if Beckett does authenticate it, I mean, they do sell quite substantially, and I would agree. I mean, personally, I would rather have the 85 Nike over. You said Interlake, is that what it's called?
The 85 Interlake is like the jumbo card.
Yeah, like the white one. Wait, is that the one that says like Boy Scouts of America on the bottom right or left?
It might be. Yeah, it is the white one.
Yeah, okay, I think that's the same one. Yeah, I would rather have the Nike one. I know it's a year later, but the Nike promo card. I think
the Nike promo card is sick too. Yeah,
I think it's one of the most culturally like impactful cards ever made. I know it was in pack issued. Also, I mean, technically, kind of was through Nike and stuff as a promo, but not like their actual card company. But I can see why the Fleer has a ton of value. Nate, any thoughts?
Not on that. I do have thoughts, but not on the Nike per se. So, but we can wait till the end to get to my thoughts.
Here's my counter argument to the pack pull thing, though, right?
Yeah.
If you get a box of 86 Fleer, on average, there's 3 Jordans in it. So, like, yes, in some sense, it's like randomized if you're buying individual packs. But if you're buying a box, on average, you're getting 3 of them. You're basically guaranteed to get it. So, in my mind, it's like, okay. At the time, like you could have guaranteed getting a Jordan just by buying a box, the same way you could have guaranteed getting a Star or Interlake by buying the packaging or whatever.
I do agree that it's almost like seen as like a full set at that point, right? Like,
yeah.
So I'd say that's a good point. I like that.
Yeah, and then I don't the ones that are the Star cards that are like autographed, those go crazy too.
Yeah, I've seen some of this. One of them just sold, I think, this past weekend. I don't remember how much it's. I'd have to look. But Nate, what do you guys say?
So quick quiz for you two and also everyone on YouTube. Who is according to the Baseball Reference wins above replacement, who is second all time behind Babe Ruth?
I wouldn't be Pools.
I didn't even know what Babe Ruth led, honestly.
Walter Johnson.
I was gonna guess that because he has brought it up. But
so you know your Walter Johnson is by Baseball Reference wins above replacement the second best player in the history of the MLB.
I did not know that.
My question would be to you: Is Babe Ruth so high because of the pitching that he did too? Gave him.
I mean, yeah,
and he was obviously,
but also he was just like
the Bambino,
leaps and bounds a better hitter than everyone else in the league,
than the competition
by a mile and a half.
So kind of like Will Chamberlain dropping like 50 a game.
Essentially, yeah. Now, 2 things I really appreciated is that you you've collected your entire life, but you collected vintage stuff, and you're back into it within a year and a half. And I feel like a lot of people, in the last year and a half, they'll be on Instagram and they'll see everyone's big cards and their big, personal collections, and they'll be like, I just want that, right? I don't care about a $20 card. I don't care about, a card that might get a PSA 8, a PSA 7. I just want the big stuff. And you, relatively new to the new era of cards, compared you were in. I want to make sure that I'm not discrediting that. You were in, and now you're back in. And you're like, look, I don't care if it's non-graded. I like the card. And I also don't care if it's $500. I don't care if it's $20 or $10. If I like it, I like it. And I appreciate that, because I think a lot of people and a lot of new people, they just see people's huge Instagrams. They go on and they see 101 Mahomeses and, out of 10 RPAs and this and that and blue ice Lukas. And they just, they're just like, that's how you collect cards. And that's not how you collect cards. You can collect anything you want. And you're a good example of that.
It was funny. Like, I was talking to, do you guys know Shay? From Shay Wave Vlogs.
Yeah.
So I was actually at Bleecker Trading. He was showing me some of his stuff, and he has this 2005 SP Authentic LeBron autograph. And I think it's got a BGS 7 or 7.5, which to a lot of people is a complete turnoff or whatever. But it has a perfect on-card autograph. And I was just honestly, I want to keep in touch with you about this card, because I just think it's amazing. I couldn't care less about the grade. It has a perfect autograph. The eye appeal is great. And I just honestly didn't really care what the grade was. But yeah.
Personally, I don't like how BGS, when it goes down to an 8, it goes to the paper label and doesn't do silver anymore. But I know PSA does paper labels in the first place anyways. But for that type of card, I would way rather have let's just say it's a PSA 7 with a perfect autograph, like you said, than a PSA 9 with a faded autograph.
Oh yeah.
I'd be no, I'd way rather have the lower card grade, especially as just in general. If you think about how a card is, especially thicker cards like those exquisites and SP autos and stuff, it's the chance of them getting damaged is very high, from production to signing to pack out to distribution to customer, just very high chances. A faded autograph physically means that it's just altered since it was signed, most likely. Obviously. Oh, look at that. Rob said, wow, I traded that LeBron to Shea at the Atlanta show.
Oh, wow. Well, Rob, that's a dope card, man.
Small world.
Rob shouldn't have traded it. You should have traded it to Sam.
Yeah, because you said you wanted his Kevin Durant.
Yeah. Actually, I see a comment here that Will was saying Bonds or Walter Johnson. I was looking through some of my old stuff last week, and I have a few Bonds autographs, early to the 2000s, 2002, Ultimate. There's a 2002 Ultimate one, and then someone did a buyback of his 87 Topps card, I think, and that I have. And honestly, Bonds, another guy, if you look at his best years, were the best years ever, in my opinion. Nate, I'm curious what you think as a baseball guy, but Bonds had a series of years that are unmatched by anyone.
The dude ran a 609 on base percentage one
year. Yeah, that's insane.
He got on base 60% of the time.
That's so insane.
That will never, ever be done again.
Yeah. The only weird thing is even those years where he was hitting 70 home runs or in the 50s and 60s, whatever, the one knock on him is his RBIs were not that high. He would have 60 home runs and 100 RBIs, which was kind of weird. But all of those other numbers, I think it's crazy not to have him in the Hall of Fame.
Is it the most solo homers ever?
It depends on who's. Well, number one, it depends on who's on his team, and also number two, he was so feared. If you had a guy on base or two guys on base, he was
walking it.
If you didn't have anybody on base, you were going to throw to him, and that is the reason why he can hit 73 home runs in a year and only have 137 RBIs.
Yeah. What Will's saying, you guys are too young to remember. Yeah, I was pretty young then, but I remember that was insane. Like you're saying, no one wanted to pitch that guy, and now he's not going to be in the Hall of Fame. And I think there's already a lot of guys that are in the Hall of Fame that have used some type of performance. That's a different discussion. But
hey, can you bring up Will's other comments? Speaking of war, because this is the one that really kills me. Is that if you look at Barry Bonds' stats with Pittsburgh, and it's considered that he started steroids in San Francisco, he ran a 204 OPS plus. He ran a 1,080 OPS as a 27-year-old in Pittsburgh, MVP. 2 years before that, MVP as a 25-year-old, 970 OPS. This is a dude that was a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And one of the best, if not the best player in the league without steroids. And then he took steroids. And the same thing with Alex Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
Did not need steroids.
No.
And yet they
Hall
of Fame. I guess I can continue.
Yeah.
They took Hall of Fame careers and stats and absolutely obliterated them with steroids when they didn't need to. Maybe they don't age as gracefully. Maybe Barry Bonds isn't running 1,045 OPS as a 42-year-old, but he's still going to be a Hall of Famer, and he's still going to be one of the best of all time.
Do you say 1,045 OPS as a 42-year-old?
Yeah.
And the stolen bases, right? Like how many guys? I think he's one of only a few that have 400 home runs, 400 stolen bases, right?
500,
right? Yeah. So it's like him, I think him, Willie Mays. Like there's like basically no one has that.
Yeah. Hey Sam, I want to point out I did look up, and this is the auto version. It's over 72K.
That feels like. I mean, like what is the autograph version of the
Flerio for?
Yeah, I feel like
great question. I think one sold some time ago, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head right now how much.
Sam, to get back to your overtime work, just so we can get because we're running out of time here.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously work for overtime. You explained it all. Can you share with us like one cool experience in cards that you have also got to experience because of overtime? Do you have any of those?
Wow. Okay. Coolest. I'm gonna have. I would say if you ask me that in about a week, I will have a lot to talk about. We have a really big announcement this week, so that's why I was actually happy you guys are inviting me on. I like literally within the next 2 days, we're gonna have a really big announcement that I think is gonna I think everyone in the card world is going to be talking about.
So what you're telling me is you don't want to break news here. Is that what you're telling me?
I can't. I will.
You say he's not allowed to break news here because we know that Sam doesn't want to break news here.
I will get in big trouble, but I'm saying just like keep an eye on the overtime polls page and overtime the next couple days, and
that's what I was going to ask you. Should people follow you at overtime polls to see?
Yeah. Follow at overtime polls. We're going to be doing more content on there. Right now it's only me working on it, and like I have a million other jobs, so I honestly just can't post as much as I want to. Like if it was up to me, I'd be posting stuff all day. So we're going to be definitely posting a lot more content in there, but yeah, follow overtime polls next few days. Big announcement. And I think I'm curious what you guys are going to think about it. And Aaron, I know I hit you up that we're sending you a little something, so you're gonna have to like see it. But I'm definitely excited.
Breaking news! There's breaking news coming up in 2 days.
Yeah.
We got it. We got the scoop that there is breaking news in a couple days.
I didn't know there was gonna be breaking news in a couple days. So I guess that's something to party about.
Yeah. You guys are hearing it first. That. There's going to be another time to hear it first.
Yes.
Love it.
Perfect. That's all I wanted.
Now I can clickbait the title. Sam, last thing I want to ask is one thing that you've learned through the last 3 to 4 years of your life, both working for overtime and collecting cards, and something you can share with the audience to take away.
For sure. I would say two things. Like one question that people always ask me is about like how to build your social media. And because like, you know, we basically started from nothing and now we have like over 50 million followers, which is kind of crazy. But like people always ask like, what's one key? Like I would say the one key, and you guys actually do it really well, is like staying consistent. Like every day, like grinding and like the way that we built our YouTube channel was by posting serialized content that was dropping every Sunday at noon for 8 weeks straight, and people were ready for it and they were tuning in because they knew every week the Mikey Williams show was dropping or the Jalen Suggs show was dropping. Like that consistency and like telling your audience, like, we're going to be doing this for, 8 to 12 weeks or whatever. Like that's how you build something. And like the other piece of that is you have to be willing to test things and fail. Like if you look at our YouTube page, there are a lot of videos with 10 million views and there are a lot of videos with 10,000 views. And that's because we test things and we see what works and what doesn't work. And then when you find something that works, we keep going at it. So I would say consistency and testing. And then the other piece is like, you never know who that one person that you meet either I don't know. I've met so many people playing basketball. I've met people at the card shows. Like, you never know that one person that you meet that's going to be able to pull a string for you or help you with something down the line. So like, treat everyone you meet with like respect and be nice to them, because you don't know, like you literally will never guess. Like, the co-founder of Overtime is my friend from Hebrew school when I was in kindergarten and he was in second grade. Like, that is the founder of Overtime, and like we were just friends our whole life. And then when Overtime came out, he's like, yo, I need to bring you on board. Like, I never would have been able to guess that. So I think it's just like being nice to everyone you meet, being respectful of people, helping people when they ask you for help, and then it always like comes back down the line. So I know I was kind of all over the place, but I hope that's
Sam, I will say that's probably one of the best pieces of advice that I actually ever heard through our podcast in the past, because I will attest to the same thing. Like, I can't tell you how many people I've met in the last 3 years doing this that never would I guess that one person I met would have introduced me to this one person, then ends up being this one thing. I mean, I can straight up tell you that, we just launched the Rally partnership today with Rally Road in New York.
I love Rally.
The fractional investment company. And the way that I met those guys was through someone that flew to see Nate and I in Milwaukee over 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
Just about 2 years ago. And there's no way I ever would have thought that guy coming out to meet us to talk about slab stocks would lead to 2 years later now us doing, getting a partnership with Rally. Like, it's just crazy to those types of things. And I agree with you. You always need to be kind and be nice to people. And it's not because you're like, oh, down the line, they're going to do something for me. It's just to be a good person. And then because you're doing that, stuff is just going to work out. I mean, some people, a lot of people say like the hardest workers are the ones that are the luckiest, because you put yourself in the positions the most to succeed. And then through that just comes good fortune.
Very specific example of this. There is a guy in the MLB sphere that recently released that he asks for $50 to $100 per podcast appearance as a guest. Jumps on a podcast, requests $50 to $100 for the hour of prep time he does, and then appearing on the show for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And he got absolutely blasted by the entire MLB like media community for asking for money, because they're like, look, if you're a good human being, you'll do this for free. And a lot of people do. And in fact, I have a guy coming that is a national writer that is going to be showing up on my podcast tomorrow. And he's not making anything, and he's taking his time out of his day to do it. And it's very kind of him. And, it's like, one, it's being a good human is just helping out your neighbor. And two, he helps me out. If he ever needs any card advice or anything, he knows he can DM me and I will answer him, because he has helped me out so much in the past. This will be his second appearance. It's just, the right thing to do. And this one dude charging money, it's the exact same thing. It's not the right thing to do. And he will learn that when he has no future career in MLB media.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with me. It's like anyone that does something for me, I always say back to him, like, let me know if you need anything. And that doesn't mean everyone comes and asks me, but the people that do, I'm there to help them just as they help me too. So Sam, I like it a lot. Thank you for sharing that.
For sure. And and like, honestly, one of the great things for me about coming back and like really getting heavily involved in the card community in the last couple of years, like there's some people that are obviously in it for money, but like the people that just love to collect and like hanging out with them and like talking cards, like that just like feels good. Like, and people really, there are, I know that a lot of money's coming to the hobby, but I know just from talking to everyone, like there are a lot of people like you guys that still actually just like love cards and love to collect. And like that's my favorite. That's my favorite part of it. And that's why like I was hyped when you asked me to come on the podcast, and that's why on the show, and that's why like I tune in and all that. So yeah, I just wanted to thank you guys for having me. But also, when's the next show you guys are going to? I need to figure out when the next one I can go to is.
We don't have it exactly on the schedule yet, but I'm considering potentially the next Dallas show, or at the very least, I think Jamil's show in December, the next Con in Tampa. That's the one that I really do want to go to next. It's a little harder in the fall. Shows aren't as frequent and stuff, and lots of stuff going on. But I do want to get to his very badly. And I want to point out really quick, I didn't mean to make it seem like, mystery man that flew to Milwaukee, but he brought him up earlier, Bleecker Trading. It's actually Mark, the owner of Bleecker Trading, is the guy that we met over 2 years ago.
Mark's a great guy.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Mark is a great guy, and it's the exact type of person who we never did anything for him in like physical, literal sense of like making content for him or anything at the time. And he just did a ton to help us.
Let's put it this way. Without Mark's advice, I don't know if we're sitting here right now.
And it's just some guy that messaged me on Instagram. It's nothing more than that, which is crazy. Crazy.
Sorry about this lighting, by the way. I know it's not good for my apartment has terrible lighting.
No, it's all good, Sam. It's all good. No worries. But hey, we're going to call here. Sam, thank you so much for joining today. I appreciate it. This was kind of we've had guests on the show in the past, but we are trying to kick off a series now of different guests joining and talking about cards and what they find fun in it. Just, trying to make these personal connections with our audiences. I think it's very valuable to hear from people like you. So I want to thank you for taking the time, like Nate just mentioned, and joining us and being here for us and for the audience too.
For sure. Yeah. Look, guys, if you're ever in New York City, let me know. Like, come by the office, and then we'll go check out a Bleaker Trading Trade Night or something. Like, it's a good vibe out here. There's good card people out here. So just seriously, like, let me know if you're ever in the city.
No, I actually got to do that because Mark, every time I see Mark, he says, "Hey, whenever you're in New York City," I'm like, "Well, I don't happen to just like be there a lot, but I'll try to."
Yeah. So someone just asked overtime polls. Do you have any pull with the main overtime channel? I mean, yeah, like I was one of the first employees. So I run the YouTube channel. So yes, I do have. I got a huge giveaway in the following. Okay, just DM me just DM overtime polls or overtime Sam, and we can talk about it.
Awesome. Well, hey Sam, thank you so much for joining. Everyone in the audience, thank you so much for joining today and discussing different things in the card market. Sam, we'll see you later. Everyone else, have a great rest of your week, and thank you so much for joining the SlabStox YouTube live show. See you, Sam.
See you.